a Three Wise Swans production. Visit us at threewiseswans.com or see us on Amazon. Visit us on TikTok or Instagram.
I'm Jerome C. Wise.
I'm Randy Wise.
I'm Richard H. Swan Jr. And
Together,
together with
we're
Three
With
three
Three
wise
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 Swans
Swans
and brothers.
and
and
we're
we're brothers.
brothers.
It was all of those experiences and kind of put them in the pot like gumbo, stir them up and say, well, what can I do with what I've learned, what I've experienced, and what I know, and put something out for me specifically. And hopefully, if I'm to release this to someone to see and hear, that they'll like it the same way I liked it or I enjoyed it.
Fair enough.
That's where I'm at.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. What about you? Let's go with you. What was your, maybe even your first experience in saying, I can write and I like this thing called writing, and this is something that I want to do at some point, you know?
I think there's no secret that my origin is like I know you from somewhere. We shared a womb. So yeah, same story. My perspective from that is I'm the 9-year-old, almost 10-year-old version of myself. And at that time, Swan is showing me comic books and sharing with us, these comic books here, and it takes for me, and so I like it. I'm into it, but I'm also, I'm also enjoying the pictures, and I'm reading the word, but I don't have the comprehension yet. It's coming. It comes along, and as we do it more, I realize I like reading, and then I start collecting comic books, and so that's the origin story for me. Reading it, being invited, I have to credit Swan as much as he doesn't really deserve it. Yeah, I have to give him credit, right? Because he's sharing his love of comics with us. And then, of course, we have this steady diet of cartoons, and so we're living in cartoon world, and then going out into the real world and exploring. So all that stuff stayed with me until the very first story I wrote back in high school. Noise Story. I started because I'm, doing cartoons, we're doing graffiti, and all that stuff. And then it hits me to start. That was the impact. Well, two things happened. We had a nephew at the time who was so funny to me. I thought it'd be funny to draw him, and so I started drawing him. And in all this time, we're reading comic books. I have a steady diet of comic books and interest in that. By the time I'm in high school, we have a huge collection of comic books, and so I have all this stuff to draw on, and we have a huge collection of hours, logged hours of watching cartoons over all those years from that 9-year-old me to that 15, 16, 17-year-old me. And so I'm logging all that stuff together. And then when I write my first comic book, when I create my first cartoon, it's of a nephew who is funny to me. And we're doing graffiti, so I do them in a graffiti style. And then I add, I'm reading like Far Side and Charles, Peanuts and all that. So I'm thinking, what if I do my own comic book style art? After this is post graffiti kind of stuff, and then simultaneously, I'm thinking about the irony of flies and how much I hate them. So, one day I'm trying to kill some flies, and all that's in my mind. And I'm thinking about all the things that go wrong while I'm trying to kill flies. So what became later, years later, Noise Story started with the story of making mistakes while I'm trying to kill flies who I hate, right? All the noise of flies and all that sort of stuff. And so annoyance became noise later on in life. But the first thing was about the mistakes. And so my mind was driven to create two different comic strips. At that time, I'm really I'm thinking a lot. I'm not writing stories per se, like book stories, but I'm writing like panels, cartoon panels, and then I create from that. One is Antoine, a cartoon of a nephew of mine who just was funny. So I filled in antics for him and, gave him a panel and scripted it. And then I did this story of the flies, which is about all the mistakes that people make while trying to kill flies, or all the hijinks that flies do, laying on you while you're sleeping, crawl over your face, you're ready to eat something and they land right on the thing you're ready to eat with no compunction about it. So that got me going. And then it would be years later, though, that I would formally turn it into a contest. When I was invited to a contest, when I started writing more formally poetry first.